Hello everybody, happy spring. Great Lake Sprouts Media here today. Andrew, we're going to be showing you guys how to sharpen your lawnmower blade. Why it's important, we're going to show you indications of your lawn and your grass if you know if your blade's not sharpened. We're going to show you some safe ways to do it and when you should replace your blade and things like that. Let's do this, come on. All right guys, we got our lawnmower here. This is a Husqvarna Honda. I've had this thing for like 12 years. Keep replacing parts on it from other mowers and things like that, but it works. It keeps running, changing the oil. The main thing I want to talk to you guys about today, we have our lawnmower blade here. How do we know if our lawnmower blade needs to be sharpened? Well, first of all, you can cut the grass with it. You can see, hey, there's a blade right here. I'll show you guys a close-up of it. You can see that the top is frayed like that. That means that your blade is kind of dull and it's not really giving a nice clean cut. You'll start to see browning after a couple days too. It's kind of just shredding it rather than giving a nice clean cut. So that's a good indication there too. We also can flip our mower over. It's kind of a little bit hard to tell because the top part of the blade is on the underside here. You can kind of feel it. This blade isn't too bad, but definitely needs to be sharpened a little bit. So we're going to take this off. All we have is one bolt here, 15 millimeter socket. What I like to do, since the blade turns, I shove a piece of wood down here to hold the blade while I'm turning this. So we lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. We're going to go up. If for some reason you guys don't have the strength to do it, we can use a breaker bar too. Put that on there, you're going to get yourself more leverage to really pull it up. I wish you would have get this guy. So this is going to get shoved that way. See how that block kind of held it in place? There we go. This blade hasn't been off in a minute. Wasn't too bad. Shouldn't come off too easy, but should be tight. Don't lose this washer on top here. Every mower is going to be a little bit different, but they're all pretty much similar in certain aspects. I like to check and see if that's not bent. Good with that. All right guys, just should pop right off. So we're looking at this blade here. It is a little bit old, kind of rusted. We want to look for indentations if there's any cracks and things like that. You know, that's usually a good indicator we want to replace it. This one's still fairly well. We'll get this one a nice sharpen. You want to do it at a 45-degree angle, kind of like that is right there. And then we're going to balance. We're going to show you guys how to balance this and why it's important to balance it. All right guys, another important tool to have is a vice grip. This one's not bolted into this stand, but you know, I can hold it pretty well. If you don't have a grinder, we can use a hand file. It's going to take a lot longer guys, but this is all you got. It's a cheaper method. We only want to go in one direction. They say about 50 times is good to get a good blade sharpened. It doesn't need to be sharp like you're shaving your face or something like that, because if it's too sharp, if it hits the tiniest little rock or something, it's gonna just chip. You wanna give it, you know, so it's not gonna cut your hand or anything like that, but you feel sharp. So it's gonna go, you'll know when you're pushing it, you'll feel the grit from the file. If you don't feel that, you're not pushing hard enough. We start at one end, and work our way down. Like I said, this isn't my favorite method to do because it takes a lot longer, but sometimes when you're in a rush and you just want to sharpen it up a little bit, you can do this while the blade's still on the mower without taking it off. Like I said, you'll feel that grit. Don't go back and forth. Push forward, lift. Some of these crevices you have to use the other side of the tool. Just go up and down, back and forth. The end here seems the dullest. All right, so that's one way, guys. If we don't have a grinder, I'm gonna show you the grinder method. Very important to have glasses. These have protectors on the side. These ones are rated for any type of metal or anything shooting through your eye. Shouldn't break through these glasses. Another thing I like to use is a grinder, or you can get a grinding stone. That's another method too, and take the blade, run it through that way. I like to use my grinder here. It's a little bit more of a less coarse grinder on top, and turn this thing on. And just go along the edge here. You come and take a look at that, see how beautifully sharpen that. A lot faster versus using that. The file is good to use if it doesn't need too much sharpening. This is good to use if you haven't sharpened in a long time. I'm gonna do the other side too, and I'm gonna show you guys how to balance it. We're gonna take this off the vice grip. Now be careful if you're using a grinder. This thing might be hot. We're gonna unleash the vice grip. And then I'm gonna take you guys over to another place here. We're gonna find a nice level area. I'm gonna show you this balancer I have, but I'm gonna show you a little trick if you don't have the balancer. You can use a nut and screw. All right guys, this is our balancer. You can find these at most hardware stores in the long section. It's gonna see if the blade's weight is the same on each side, because since the blade's spinning so fast, you don't want it to create almost like a, I think I can call it like a vortex where it starts wobbling. You'll know, you can kind of feel it. You want both sides to be evenly balanced. So we'll just take this, place it right on top. So you can see this side here, we got to take a little more weight off this side. We got too much taken off this side here, so we're going to take a little bit more off on this right side. It should bring it up a little bit. So we'll take it back to the vice grip and grind a little bit more off. It's pretty close. I mean, you can take just a little bit more off what I just did on the right, but as long as it's not like this, really overweight on one side, we're good. But I'll grind just a little bit more off on that right side. Make sure it's completely balanced. You also want to make sure this is on there good too. So reset it a couple times if you have to. Should be pretty good, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on. But I want to show you one more method. If you don't have that balancer, you have a file at home, I'm gonna show you guys how to do this with just a nail. All right guys, another method here. We're just gonna show you, if you don't have that plastic balancer, you can just go into a pretty level surface, any type of wood, if you got a post or something, or inside your garage. A lot of garages have 2x4s in the walls. You just wanna just nail it in there. Get it as level as possible. Don't have to go in too much. If you got a little tiny level, you can see. But like I said, guys, this doesn't have to be rocket science. Different mowers will have different blade designs in the middle. I'm gonna rest it on this little top part here. And then we're gonna see, it's pretty balanced, you know. I would say maybe just a little bit more taken off this side but it's not bad, guys. But this is another way you can test it without having to use that balancer. Not a bad method, but that way is more accurate, in my opinion, because you can only test this from one side. It's better to test it this way, but still a good indication, good enough. So we're gonna put this back on. All right, make sure we're putting our blade on the right way. We don't wanna put it upside down. So make sure when you're taking it off, if it's your first time taking things apart, what I like to do is I like to take pictures, you know, because sometimes you think you'll remember, but you don't. I've taken things apart way too far and I'm like, I do not know how to put this thing back together. It was a long time ago, but kept doing it and doing it, and you pick up these little tricks of the trade. So we can use that wood method again if we want. Sometimes I just hold it with my hands with some gloves too, but it's hitting the wood there. I like to use wood because if I use metal or something, it could damage the blade. But we're gonna get it on there hand tight, just like you would for an oil pan. That should be good there, guys. This wood out. All right, guys, we got the mower off, we got the blade back on. Just want to mention one more thing. When you guys are putting the mower on that side, it doesn't have to go up on the table like that. You can do it on the ground here. We want to make sure, you saw in the video, the filter's up on this side. Don't flip the mower the other way, because what happens is the carburetor's in here. All the gas will come out and get this filter completely soaking wet. You'll have to take it out and dry it, or just remove the filter until it dries. But just make sure you put it on this side. We also want to let it sit for a little bit before we start it. But there you guys have it. That's how you sharpen your lawnmower blade. If you guys have any questions, comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe button, guys. Thanks for watching.